LaRae Orullian's career in banking began when she started counting her pennies.
I wanted to go to college, but I didn't have enough money, so I took a summer job, which was to be the messenger girl at a bank in Salt Lake, Tracy Collins. And my first promotion was to coin ramper.
But she was counting on the day when she could cross over to what was known as Mahogany Row.
And that was where all the officers were, and there were only men over there. The only women over there were secretaries, so I thought, I've got to become a secretary.
So she started to type, a strategy that soon spelled success. And the young woman from Salt Lake City set her sights on Wall Street. But on her way, she made a stop in Denver and was guaranteed a secretary's job at the new Guarantee Bank. That was 40 years ago, and believe it or not, she's right back where she started, only this time she's helping run the place.
This is not your first time at Guarantee Bank. This is kind of like your
absolutely
your
not.
encore.
I took a 20-year leave of absence,
Just
and
20
now
years.
I'm back. We did the Women's Bank in between,
Uh-huh.
and so I'm back, but not for another 20 years. I'm way too close to retiring at this point.
Enough already.
Her leave of absence, as she calls it, were the 2 decades she did what no woman in Denver had ever done. She became president of a bank.
In those days, risks, were something women just didn't take. And so I did my famous T account where you put the positives and the negatives and the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, saying Women's Bank here or stay where I am. And finally, the Women's Bank list got a little bit longer.
And as president of that bank, she watched as her investment in the women of this community began to pay off.
If we had failed in that bank, I think women's movement in Denver, Colorado would have been set back many, many years. Because we had a lot of folks up and down 17th Street saying, oh, let those silly girls go play with their tryout with the Women's Bank. And if it doesn't work, we'll pick up the pieces. So we had to do it. And it was like we suddenly opened the doors, not just for the women that came to bank with Women's Bank, but all of a sudden women in banking in general had opportunities to move up the ladder where before they were assistant cashiers and never really had a chance to move to the top.
Back then, LaRae says 60% of the people working in banks were women, but only 2% of them were in management. LaRae not only shattered the glass ceiling, she broke out of the old stereotype.
I really don't know what the incentive was. It was something that I was born with. I always wanted to be the ringleader in the neighborhood.
But her neighborhood was Salt Lake City, Utah, where opportunities for a young woman always hit home. But by leaving the nest, she soared to new heights. Aside from her outstanding accomplishments in banking, LaRae found herself sitting on a number of corporate boards, including Frontier Airlines and Colorado Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
You all have your agenda. We welcome you here this morning.
And if that weren't enough, LaRae Orullian rose to the top ranks in yet another organization, this one, the Girl Scouts of America, where she served as national president, and she finally got that office in New York she had once dreamed about.
And a lot of people said, well, you don't have a family. I said, I have 3.5 million girls around this country that I feel very devoted to, and particularly because girls look to you as being a role model, and it really is important for them to aspire to whatever it is they want to be.
A role model who is living proof that women can be bankers too.